Hey guys, welcome back to none other than, of course, your girl Cooking with Tammy. I am back with another great recipe. Today I'm going to show you how I make my delicious seafood lasagna. I got to be honest with you, I don't think there's any seafood lasagna that tastes this good. So brace yourself because the flavors are going to be out of this world. With all of that being said, let's introduce these ingredients and get to cooking. We have the jumbo shrimp on deck, as well as our giant-sized lobster tail. Not to mention, we have the jumbo lump crab. We also have some butter. For this particular recipe, I'm going to be using shallots. However, if you can't get your hands on shallots, use onions, whether it be red or yellow. We also have finely chopped garlic, spinach, half and half, all-purpose flour, oven-ready lasagna. And yes, the oven-ready lasagna is not the same as regular lasagna. For our seasonings, we're going to be using Old Bay seasoning, seafood seasoning, aka cedar plank salmon seasoning, as well as Cajun seasoning, smoked paprika, Italian seasoning, parsley, nutmeg, salt, ground black pepper, and oil. When it comes to the oil, use whichever one you have. With all of that being said, let's get to cooking. First things first, we are going to make sure we clean our seafood. As you can see, our shrimp has been deveined front and back and rinsed off in cold water with a little salt. Good to go. Moving right along, same thing applies for our lobster tail. We split it down the middle, remove all of the gunk, soaked it in a little bit of salt water, got it all nice and clean. And what we're going to do is we're going to chop it up in chunky bite-sized pieces. Make sure you chop it up in chunky sized pieces because it's all about that texture. All right, when we put everything together, trust me on this. Once we're finished, we're going to add our lobster meat to the bowl. Along with our shrimp. And it's time for the fun part. What we're going to do is we're going to add our seasonings. I'm going to hit it off with a little bit of salt. We're not going to get carried away and add too much salt, only because our other seasonings do contain salt and we don't want to make a salty lasagna. That's not the goal here. We're trying to make a seafood lasagna. Once we're done, we're going to add some ground black pepper as well. Some Old Bay seasoning, just enough to give it that nice flavor. As well as our cedar plank salmon seasoning. For those of you who don't have cedar plank, we're going to be using our seafood seasoning, which is pretty much the same thing. What I love about the seafood seasoning is the fact that it has that little smoky element going on, not to mention that little citrus element as well. So delicious. We're also going to add some Cajun seasoning, as well as our smoked paprika, a small drizzle of oil, and we're going to use those trusty hands and get them mixing. We're going to combine the seasonings with the seafood, of course. Make sure you mix it up really, really well. Once we're done, we're going to set it aside. On medium-high heat, we're going to get that cast iron skillet going. Tammy, I don't have a cast iron skillet. No problem. Use what you got. If you have a regular skillet, get that on the stove, turn it on medium-high, and let's do what we got to do. Add that butter to the pan. Once it's sort of melted, we're also going to go in and add a little bit of avocado oil. Combine both the butter with the oil. And we're going to add our shallots or onions at this point in time. Get it all in there. Make sure there's nothing left behind. Go in with that spatula, toss it around just a bit. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our onions or shallots to become translucent. Once that happens, we're going to go in and we're going to add our finely chopped garlic. The key is to allow the garlic to become nice and fragrant. Once that happens, we're going to add our baby spinach. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to adding the spinach, it's just like making collard greens. It's the same thing. It's going to appear as if you have a lot of greenery going on. And then 2 seconds later, once everything is wilted, trust me, it's going to seem like you didn't add enough spinach. But for this particular video, we have more than enough. However, if you're going to be making a bigger seafood lasagna, keep in mind that you're going to need some more spinach. We're going to mix it up really good. And in about 3 to 5 minutes, this is what we're going to have. Everything is perfectly cooked. Our spinach is nice and softened. We're going to take it out of the pan, place it into a bowl. And once we're finished, we're going to set it aside. Using the same pan, because we have all of those flavors already going on. We have the shallots, we have the garlic. And for those of you using the onions, same thing. We got the flavors going on. So with that being said, we're going to add some butter. Add that butter to the pan, get it nice and bubbly, add a little bit more avocado, olive oil, veggie oil, canola oil, just add the oil basically. Combine it really, really good. Make sure everything is nice and hot and bubbly. After we're done, we're gonna add our perfectly seasoned seafood. Spread it out in the pan. Make sure everything has ample space. We're not going to bother it too much because we want to allow our seafood to cook perfectly. So once everything is spread out, at this point in time, I have my flame on high heat. However, you could rock out on medium high if you want to. Just be mindful that if you use high heat or medium high heat, try not to walk away from the stovetop too often, because you want to be there to make sure your food, of course, it doesn't burn, right? After about 2 minutes, we're going to go in there. We're going to flip our seafood over, allow it to cook evenly on the other side as well. Toss it around just a bit, get all of those flavors well incorporated. We want our shrimp to pick up that nice buttery flavor. Let me tell you, this is going to be so good. When it comes down to preparing the seafood, make sure you prepare extra, because when the seafood is finished cooking, you're going to want to literally go in there and take a taste, all right? Because it's going to be that good. After about 4 to 5 minutes, our seafood is perfectly cooked. And now here's the thing, we're going to be cooking it all the way through. We're going to add our jumbo lump crab to the seafood mix. Yes, we are. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, right? Now, I know most of you know our lump crab is already cooked. The only reason why we're adding it to the pan is because we want to pick up all of those delicious flavors. We want to get those flavors from the shrimp as well as the lobster. We're not going to go in there wildly and break it up. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of break it apart slightly and fold the lump crab into the shrimp and lobster mixture. We're going to turn that stovetop off. We're going to hit it off with a little bit of Italian seasoning and a little bit of parsley. We're going to remove the seafood from the skillet, place it into a nice sized bowl, and set it aside. The remaining butter that we have, we are going to add it to what? Our skillet once again. Yes, we're going to be using the same skillet because it's all about that flavor. All right, get all of that butter in the pan. Once that butter is nice and melted, we're going to add our all-purpose flour while continuously stirring. Yes, we don't want a lumpy mixture going on. Are we making a roux? Sorta. It's more of a fancier type of roux, all right? But what we are doing is we're making what's called a bechamel sauce, all right? Yes, we got to get the saucy sauce popping. So we're going to mix it up really, really good. And once the flour is nice and cooked through to the point where you can't taste it anymore, we're going to go in there and we're going to add our half and half. Yes, we are. Give it a good mix. Allow everything to come together. And what we're going for is a smooth consistency. Nevertheless, you may see those little bits of, because obviously we're using the same pan, so you have a little bit of lingering shallots hanging around and so on and so forth. But our sauce is still supposed to be smooth, all right? At this point in time, we are going to turn our stovetop off. Why are we turning off the stovetop? Because I'm using a cast iron skillet and it's going to remain really hot. So at this point in time, believe it or not, our sauce is still cooking. We're going to add a small dash of salt as well as ground black pepper. And to tie it all together, we are going to add a small pinch of nutmeg. Let me tell you, for those of you who don't know what a bechamel sauce tastes like, once you add that nutmeg, it takes this sauce to a whole nother dimension. So delicious and so complimentary. We're going to combine it really well, stir all of our, our seasonings into the sauce. And once we're done, we're going to leave it in the pan because we're not going to be using this pan anymore for anything else anyway. And it's time for us to put our seafood lasagna together. How quick and how easy, right, guys? For our seafood lasagna, we are going to be using our oven ready lasagna. And what I like about the oven ready lasagna is it's ready to go. You don't have to boil it or anything for like 10, 15, 20 minutes of your time. Just get the oven ready. It's so much quicker. And with that being said, we're going to hit our casserole dish off with a little bit of non-stick cooking spray. Just like that. Boom. And we're done. The first thing we're going to add to our casserole dish is our delicious seafood. Yes, we are. Why are we adding the seafood first? Because we don't want to add our noodles and it gets stuck to the bottom, and then we're going to have problems. All right. So we're going to add just a little bit of our seafood to the bottom, just like that. Make it happen. Followed by our noodles. Place it right here, just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to hit it off with some more seafood. Check it out. Check it out. Absolutely beautiful. And it smells so delicious. Off camera, I couldn't help myself. I literally indulged in so much seafood. If I don't have enough to make this lasagna, trust me, it's going to be my fault because I was going in. We're going to add some of our spinach and onion mixture. Add it with your hands, no big deal. Just like that. Add it in there, add it in there. We're also going to hit it off with some of our delicious bechamel sauce. Our saucy sauce. Get it popping with the sauce, yes. And we're going to add some cheese, of course, which I forgot to introduce. As far as the cheese blend, mozzarella cheese along with Italian cheese. Combination of both that's added. Mozzarella and an Italian blend of cheeses. Alrighty, we are gonna go in with our shells once again. Add it just like that. We're gonna add our delicious seafood once again. See that lump crab as well as our shrimp, not to mention our lobster meat. This is gonna be too good to be true, definitely. And what I like about this recipe, more than anything else, is the fact that you could put this together in literally about 30 minutes or, yeah, about 30 minutes, give or take. And you be out the kitchen. Add a little bit more. We got some blank spaces. Yes, we do. All right. We want seafood in every space. We're going to add our spinach and garlic mixture. Incorporate those veggies. Yes, we are. Gonna add our delicious saucy sauce once again. And our sauce is definitely gonna bring out so many different elements of flavor in our seafood lasagna. Now that we've added our bechamel sauce, we're gonna add some more cheese. Get a handful of that cheese. How pretty is that? All right, we're gonna add our final layer. Press it down just a bit. We're gonna hit it off with our seafood, of course. Just pour it on. Just pour it all. After we pour it on, we're just gonna take our time and spread it out really nicely. And we are going to top it off with our cheese once again. And add a little cheese right here. All right, perfect. Now, in order to bring it on home, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of Italian seasoning to the top. We're gonna hit it off with some parsley as well. We're gonna cover it on down and place it into our 375-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once we're done, we're going to take off the aluminum foil, allow the cheese to get nice and brown for an additional, let's say, about 5 to 10 minutes. You checking to make sure everything is good to go. And once we're done, we're going to take it on out and allow it to cool down for about 15 minutes before cutting into our beautiful seafood lasagna. Let's just take a second to just look at it and just check it out. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, it does not get any better than this. Check it out. Woo! This is gorgeous. Seafood lasagna. Whew, I'm speechless. That right there, I don't even know what else to say. Look at that cheese ball. And look at that lobster meat, not to mention the crab meat and everything else. And our noodles are perfectly cooked. I know that was a question for someone in regards to the oven-ready noodles. Yes, oven-ready noodles are not the same as the regular noodles that needs to be boiled. And when it comes down to the oven-ready noodles, let me just show you quickly. As you can see, it's nice and soft, right? It's totally cooked all the way through. So yeah, the oven-ready noodles are the way to go. You guys knock yourself out with the first bite. This seafood lasagna is definitely a masterpiece. I need you guys to replicate this recipe. Hit me up, let me know what you think. Guys, I'm your girl Cooking with Tammy, and I'll catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye guys. Enjoy.